Hi, everybody, and welcome to our first podcast. This is Mind Your Business. I'm Nicole. This is Alex, and we have Hakeem. Today, we're going to be talking about the importance of protein, dieting, and why the hell we're here. So let's get started. Hakeem, why the hell are you here?
I thought you were going to say mind your business with more attitude.
So we are.
Uh,
Be on the blooper reel.
so I'm super excited to be here. I've known Alex for many years and he's got the best voice. Alex, do you want to give us a sample?
Why we saved
We're
him for
set-
last.
Oh,
yeah,
we
setting
do?
really high expectations, but that's all right. We'll do what we can.
I mean, listen to that. You want to fall asleep to that voice. It's beautiful. And so we were in the same industry, we worked together. We've known each other for years. We meet each other at events, conventions. And then Nicole showed up, and oh my gosh, outlook on what we do, kind of an outsider, kind of always asking questions. And we had the best conversations. And so we were having dinner in a restaurant, having sushi, kind of having a good time and tossing idea and thought, hey, what if we did a podcast all together and kind of, talked about what we do, our industry, being an entrepreneur, health, nutrition, and just talked about things that maybe we don't often hear from stage. And that's kind of why we're here. So, Alex, give us your take on that beautiful sushi evening we had.
It was a nice night. We really this was it was a very organic thing that came up. And sometimes the way we learn things in our industry is for more formal presentations, but there's a lot of things you learn through conversations. And there's it's not all book learning, a lot of it's practical. And I think one of our goals was to teach people how you can go about doing something like this, how to take care of your body, how to sharpen your mindset, kind of the softer skills that make up cumulatively somebody that can become a health coach. I think one of the things that turns people off to the wellness industry is this feeling like they have to be an expert in every single thing. You feel like you have to have a medical degree in order to take care of yourself. And there are so many choices these days. There's an endless amount of nutrition guidance and products and this and that, and nobody knows where to start. But I think each of us has our own story, which we'll share in a little bit here. And it just happens little bit by bit, but by learning and having experiences, we've been able to share them with others. So that's what we want to pay forward. Nicole, how did you kind of wind up in this crazy trio here?
Because, friends don't let friends not have a good time, right? I came from the legal field, so my natural inclination is to be skeptical and to question everything and never to take anything at face value. Hakeem's right. I came in with a little bit of that, questioning perspective. I'm not the kind that just takes a product and a smile and runs to the checkout counter. But that said, I'm a mom. My body's changed a lot. In the last 10 years, it fluctuates all the time. It's frustrating. I don't have the same metabolism I did 10 or 12 years ago. And I was constantly looking for something consistent. And so found you guys. I've developed wonderful relationships and decided, you know what, to hell with it, I'll try it. So I don't come with the nutrition background that a lot of people do. I didn't even come with the focus. I just came with, I want to try something that works, and I want to share it with other people, primarily other moms, because it's a pretty common struggle for us, and still do my day job. So I kind of live this really fun double life now that includes you guys.
Hey, well, I feel like we need to make some legal statements here about living
Yes, yes.
together, like you that have. Okay, never mind.
Mostly disclaimers is what we call them.
Exactly. Disclaimers. Thank
We'll
you.
take it. Yeah, we can probably get some legal staff at the end of this. But yeah,
Uh,
that's why we got this whole thing started. And
Yeah.
we're going to have topics. These episodes are probably going to be 20 to 30 minutes each. We're going to have topics, but our goal is to make it practical, really digestible. Sometimes we'll talk about nutrition. The mind stands for mindset, uh, influence, kind of the ability to work with others, nutrition, of course, and then drive, kind of a personal development, kind of a healthy ambition. So together, that's why we call it Mind Your Business. And we're going to talk about subtopics in each of those areas. So nutrition is actually the first go around. We're going to talk about protein because it's such a buzzword in food marketing and things like that. And I think people want to know, how much do I need? What are some good sources of it? And how do I practically get it into my day? Because people don't often get as much as they think, or certainly as much as they need. So we'll dive into protein a little bit today,
Speaking
and
of protein,
we'll
my
share.
Chipotle's here. So 1 second. 1 sec.
Oh, fair enough. So we'll sort that out,
Did she just
and
order food? She just ordered
she did.
food, eh? Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yeah. And very nice. We don't get to eat food. She's gonna eat food. That's wonderful. Is she gonna eat in front of everybody? That's what I'm wondering though. Is that
probably.
okay?
That's
Okay.
Yeah. Timing
Yeah.
is everything, right?
That's awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
So
Hey, how
I'll
long
pass it. Yeah, go
people
ahead.
don't know how long you've been doing this, buddy. I don't even know exactly how many years you've been doing this.
It's been 10 years.
10 years
It's
already?
flown by. Yeah.
Are you
I
kidding? 10 years. Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah, it's flown by. Learned a lot, but the longer I do it, the simpler I keep it, which is interesting.
Now, you guys
It's
are much younger than me. Is this the longest thing you've done consecutively? 10 years? Did you have a career of 10 years before?
not quite 10. So this is definitely the longest thing I've done. And it's like I said, it feels like yesterday when I started.
That's amazing. That's cool.
Yeah. But
I don't even know what you did before. What did you do before?
you won't leave the edge of your seat out of excitement, but I was a consultant in the Bay Area working with a utility company.
Oh,
Um, yeah,
oh,
it was my first job out of college and got to see behind, the corporate veil, and taught me a lot of great things about how big companies work. Had met some great people, but, being a coach kind of fell into my lap in a different way. My family had done it for years before me, but I grew up just on a different tack. I just wasn't exposed to it much, but got to take over my family's business, and little by little, kind of built by taking care of myself, learned how to take care of others. And that's what made it so fun, because you got to do it from experience. But that's it. I was definitely your white collar number pusher for quite a while.
Yeah, he saw behind the corporate veil and said, I don't
Yeah, pretty much.
want it.
What about
that's
you,
That's
Kim? How
fair.
did you get started?
completely different than you. I was more okay. So I'm half French. You can hear my accent, right?
Sure
So
can.
I think in my DNA there's a bit of being rebellious as being French. It's part of being French. So I didn't quite like school. I didn't like being told what to do. I wanted to have my own business since I'm a young guy. And my dad had his business, so I also was inspired by him and what he was doing. So that's what I decided to do. I wanted to have my own thing and travel and help people. And I was lucky to find people that helped me along the way to start what I'm doing. And yeah, that's kind of what I did. Yeah. And
Right.
that's the only thing I've ever done. I've never had a job. Isn't that crazy?
Wow,
I've never had a job.
get out.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's been 25 plus years now. You guys were still in diapers. Isn't that ridiculous?
Not quite in
25
diapers.
years,
I
you give me a
mean,
lot of credit.
25 years ago, I think I was in fourth grade.
Oh my
Yeah, I,
gosh.
I would have been
Crazy.
12,
Yeah.
so I would hope I wasn't back then. Maybe on a rough day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Nicole explained it a little earlier, but this is, you're an attorney by day.
Yeah, I'm an attorney by day and a coach by my free time. So I still do practice actively in 2 states, and part of this was learning about the business mostly from spending time with you, Alex. Learning about your family, going to different events with you, and really seeing this as a lifestyle that I wanted for myself and one that I wanted to share with others. My daughter sort of became my first client in a way. She's a child. Children are picky eaters as it is. But she's also got a myriad of allergies and some eczema to go with it. And I started, sort of being a mom. And when you're a mom, you're half a pharmacist and a nutritionist and a counselor and all the above. And I tried some of, the products with her, and she loved them. I'm like, hey, and then I tried the skin line. Like she loved that, and they started to work. I tried them on myself. They worked too. And I thought, you know what? Maybe there's something to this. There's a method to the madness. Um, and I sort of had to teach myself to be a little more open-minded and a little less critical. And that worked out. So far I've gotten other people great results. One of my first clients is down 15 pounds and thrilled because he hasn't seen those numbers on the scale in, gosh, 1 or 2 decades at this point. He's buying new pants, that he actually needs for the first time. That's great. He's getting his wife on the same regimen. And I think the satisfaction of it is when you see it work for other people and you see how happy they are with themselves and their results. The legal field doesn't always work that way. You know, you're entrusted with a lot of responsibility, but you're not really changing lives per se. You can ruin lives, but you don't always change them for the better. And this is my feel good work. There's, my dessert work, if you will.
So it evens out your life.
It has to, somehow, you kind of, when you walk around with like the good and the bad on your shoulders, there's like the two
Uh-huh.
guys that are kind of hitting you with spitballs from straws so that you'll pay
Uh-huh.
attention. That's kind of what it is.
Uh-huh.
I have the things I have to do by day and then the things I get to do on my free time and my weekends. And yes, it's a constant balance, but it's the only way you stay sane.
That's great. That's really great. And then we have Superman. I mean, come on. It's wonderful. So I
Thank
have
you
I
very
have
much.
4 kids and I agree it's very hard to figure out how to stay healthy as a family, especially nowadays. Like everybody is so busy. The kids have schedules. I mean, it's quite something. Today we had to help my mother, who's an older person. She's in a retirement home, just to plan everybody showing up, like the schedule of everybody. It was a job of its own. It really was. So I can relate to that. It's sometimes it's difficult. Yeah. So are we digging into protein
So,
now? Are you digging into your protein? What you went to get your food?
I got it.
Yeah.
I got it.
Yum.
I'm paying you guys the
Well,
utmost respect of not completely pigging out right now. But speaking of, I will say there are 53 grams of protein in my meal. So how am I doing? How am I doing?
that's probably more than what you need for one meal.
Well,
Yeah. So,
She
okay.
eats like a
So let's
bird, so I think she'll manage.
let's dig into that protein. Okay. So,
Yeah.
some basic facts that we know, and we can Google them too, but here they are. First, we need protein to live, right? So,
sure.
yeah. And people think they get enough, but they don't. And so the amount of protein you need is based on how much you weigh. It's based on your body size. So
A
obviously,
lady never tells.
well, yeah, but Superman over here,
We can back
Alex,
calculate it from how much protein you say you need. Don't worry about it.
yeah. So and you know what's cool? Like for me, I got to see my dad be at the hospital in and out for the last 20 years, and he's no longer able to feed himself, but they know how much he needs just based on his weight. Like it's they've been doing this for decades at a hospital, so it's the same thing outside of the hospital. You should eat based on your weight, just like with a baby. or a dog.
So, how much protein do you need based on your weight?
So it's 1 to 2 gram per kilogram. So it's 1 gram of protein per pound um of
Body
lean
weight.
mass or body
Right.
weight. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Depending on your activity, but that's kind of general. So if let's say you weigh, I don't know, 100 like 160 pounds, well, you need, a little bit less, around 60 grams of protein, like maybe 125 to 150 grams of protein. If you weigh 100 pounds, well, then a bit less, maybe 75 to 90 grams of protein. So it's based on your weight. Very simple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
And
mean,
that's
protein. Yeah.
each day, right?
Yes, in a day, yeah. So
Yeah,
your
that's a
53
lot.
gram you have there in a meal, it's quite a bit. Not sure what you had throughout the day, but
Not much.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I have to
Yeah.
say, I have days where I'm really like, I'm crushing it. And then I have days that I'm like, I don't know how I live like this.
yeah.
And most of the time, Alex gets to see the latter. He's never been too impressed with my eating habits.
That's okay. Getting better all the time. This podcast is about progress, is it not?
And you know
We're
the protein. One thing that people miss. I mean, it's not a good belief people have that protein is only for your muscles. Because I know for me, I get super cranky if my blood sugar level is low, or we have hormones that also fluctuate our mood, right?
Hmm.
And so protein helps regulate your hormones and your blood sugar. So having enough protein during the day, especially if you work a lot like you, Nicole, not that Alex doesn't work, but um, yeah. But it's very important just for your mental alertness and your mind to have enough protein in your day. Otherwise, you crash.
it can
Yeah.
really shift everything. I mean, it's the odd thing about protein is that our bodies love to store fat for, at the chance we're not going to be able to get nutrition, but your body
No
really
kidding.
doesn't store protein. No kidding, right? We've all witnessed that. But your body doesn't really store protein for too long. It's kind of a use it or lose it thing. So we have to get it every few hours throughout the day in order to make the most use of it. So there are different studies on how much protein your body really can absorb. Generally, we say between 20 and 40 grams a meal is what you want. That's also roughly what you want after you work out. So, a 53-gram burrito bowl, your body will use it. It's just it may not get all of it. So it's not like if you don't eat during the day, you can make it all up at dinner. It's really important to have those, like a protein shake or a snack with maybe some, turkey or lean meat, something like that. Every 2 to 3 hours, so your body can do all of its repair and if you're working out, growth that it's trying to do. I
Yeah,
think yeah,
that was going to be my next question is, yeah, as you know, I'm more of a grazer. So, I mean, this meal, highly unlikely I'll finish the whole thing, right? And so I know that there are people that prefer to have 2 to 3 to 4 even bigger meals throughout the day, and then there's people like me. Like I grab things and I go and I snack throughout the day. It's a bottle of water here, maybe a Slim Jim over there or whatever, something, a yogurt here, a shake there, and I kind of grab and go. So for somebody that's like that, that's constantly on a treadmill, and you're kind of like this too, Alex, with your day. You run a business, you start your day at 7 a.m., and you're off to the races. What's the recommendation? What are the best quick grab and go sources of protein?
sure.
Well, yeah. I well, I think nuts are great, especially if you're at the office and you can't like, open a can of tuna. So like the perfect basic snack that I tell clients to start with is just an apple and 8 to 10 almonds. It's an easy one. It's a basic one. You get a bit of protein, a bit of fat, a bit of carbs. It's a good one, a bit of fiber with the apple. That's an easy one. Greek yogurt is wonderful. I like Greek yogurt. Um, and yeah, I mean,
If you're into it, yeah, cottage
yeah,
cheese. It's not my favorite thing, but it's
right,
actually a great source of protein.
yeah,
It's kind of common sense. I think the biggest thing with even food in general, just the whole concept of nutrition is kind of everything in moderation, but also including moderation. You can have cake on your birthday. You can have takeout once in a while. It doesn't have to be ultra rigorous. I think one of the things we want to share most is that this is supposed to be practical. If you want to be a nutrition nerd and log every single gram of protein and every, you know, grain of rice on a scale, knock yourself out. You can gamify it. Some people really do well when they have numbers to hit. But I think what's made it easiest for a lot of us is to have, like a couple of protein shakes a day, a healthy, colorful meal, common sense, and then portion control, which can go into every other nutrition topic we talk about. But, Hakeem said 8 to 10 almonds. He didn't, nuts are extremely good for you, but most of us have way more than we actually need, and then we're amazed that we're gaining weight, but I had almonds and they're healthy. It's serving size is the probably the biggest factor in practical nutrition. um so that I know for me, I would tend, when I get on a real health kick, I tend to start. I buy all this healthy food. I raid the grocery store, but I overeat healthy food, and I'm surprised that I'll gain weight. So I have to remind myself constantly to use the common sense, to get the portion control back in order.
Yeah.
So,
Ab-
just for our listeners, are we going to be doing sort of protein or meal evals if they want them? I know we're,
Absolutely not.
yeah, no, 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 we're going to tell them, say, mind your business.
Right?
Yeah, no, I think it's a great idea. And a lot of the time, people go online and they get their, nutrition points from some brolic trainer somewhere. And it seems really unrelatable and undoable. At least it was for me when I was trying to lose weight, especially after having my daughter. I had like suddenly, 30 pounds to get rid of that I was hauling around. But um it would be really helpful to just get sensible advice from people that have done it before, that are not doing it professionally. They do it because they're regular people. Like, we're not athletes, right? We're not athletes, we're not physical trainers. We're just regular people that got into something and are passionate about it and learned a whole lot and now are willing to teach other people. So, yeah, let's do wellness profiles for our listeners, totally. And if they have questions on, hey, is this enough? Is this right? Are these good sources? Like, or here's my food diary for the day. Like, rate the diary. Whatever brings folks value, I think we should do it.
How did they get the link for that?
We will
We'll make
drop
one.
that.
Oh,
We'll make one. We'll
Yeah.
we'll upload this, and we'll make the link available. And if it's something, if you want to get our input as to what, not only, how to approach your goals, we'll put it that way, based on your current habits, we will happily weigh in, no pun intended. So I think we'll make that happen.
awesome. Very cool. It's funny. I had a lady who just I had a consult with her, and she it's so typical the way, like the breakfast, super carby, no protein, like nothing at all. Like maybe the
Yeah.
only type of protein she had is sometimes she would put peanut butter on a toast, hoping that that's enough. It's quite interesting. But then at the same time, like what you said, Alex, it doesn't mean you can't have your toast. You can enjoy also life. Um, the balance is so key. It's really key. So that's a good idea, Nicole. I like the idea.
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh,
Great.
what's next?
So, what are we talking about next week?
Well, we did nutrition this week. Should we have a different topic?
Yeah. How to eat like an adult. High time I learned that one.
I think, yeah, we're gonna shift gears a little bit toward mindset. I think, the the battle up here can sometimes be what holds us back from doing the simple things. Most of us, when it comes to nutrition, we know what's healthy for us, but it becomes almost we sometimes don't approach it with the proper mentality. So I think one of the things that can be the barrier to success in all of the other areas can be mindset. It can also unlock a lot of incredible things when you learn to approach things more clearly. So that's obviously a very deep topic. We'll have many different subtopics within that, but let's talk about mindset a little bit and how to start approaching things, you know, with a little
You
more
know,
clarity.
It'll be really fun. And this is unscripted, by the way, for those who are listening. What
Oh,
if
I
we do
think they can.
something, what if we do something different? Because I've heard so many podcasts on mindset, like overload in my head. I'm like, please stop talking. What if we do something like how to stop being motivated? Because I feel like every time we hear a new plan, a new program, whatever, it's like you need to be motivated. What are your goals? How about we do like something different? Like, how do you get motivation? How do you like that chase, that endless chase of being, motivated. How about we talked about that myth,
Yeah.
of feeling like, oh, you need to be ready. How about we break that down and talk about what we saw, in our experience with that whole, kind of a burnout of your brain always having to crave more momentum. That would be, I think, something maybe interesting.
Sounds great.
I like
Yeah,
it.
that's done.
All
Okay,
right.
well, we'll keep this short and sweet, but we're thrilled that we got this off the ground. Three friends and colleagues talking, and here we are. So we're looking forward to you all going on this journey with us.
See you next week.
Everyone.